Welcome to Life on the Rocks, your innovative, entrepreneurship, and motivational-based show where we ask the real questions by tapping into the minds of successful, high-performing individuals. I'm going to predicate to you that luck is an illusion, disproving the myth that there's a such thing as an overnight success. Get ready and strap in 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from episode 92 of Life on the Rocks with your host, Connor Rocques. Today's featured guest in the hot seat is Mr. Stephen Kuula. Stephen, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic, Connor. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
Anytime. Honestly, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show this afternoon. For anybody in the city of Greater Sudbury who currently doesn't know Stephen, I'd be surprised if you haven't seen his marketing yet. This gentleman hosts one of the biggest real estate teams in the city of Sudbury, the Kuula team. He is a Circle of Legends member. Also, this is something I think it's super important. He has over 20 years in the real estate business. I think the first question to start this off is the best thing is, what got you started in business, Stephen?
Wow, that's a loaded question, Connor. A lot of people always ask me that. How did I start? Where did I come from? What's my background? And sales has always been kind of my driving force. I've done a lot leading up to getting into real estate. And 20 years ago, I just decided, I said, you know what? I really want to tap into real estate. I love Sudbury. I'm born and raised here in Sudbury, and it's home to me. So this is my place. So I started 20 years ago.
100%. Can you walk us through that? So, you go 20 years. So you start off as a solo agent, solo agent, and then you break through to now where you have almost, and again, I know Stephen's a very humble guy, but doesn't want to say we have over 12 members on your team, which is huge.
Yeah. So you're right. I started as a single realtor. So I looked around at what everybody else in the marketplace was doing. And I said, you know what, I want to get into real estate, but I want to do things different. And it's a very tough business to break into. I didn't know anybody in the real estate industry. I talked to a lot of people before I got into it just to make sure it was going to be my right fit. And so I took the leap of faith and did everything I needed to do to get my real estate license. So that was, 20 years ago. I started then realizing that it was difficult for me to keep doing the process. There's a lot to do. And I started realizing that there's got to be a better way of servicing the clients, doing what I need to do, but then, allowing myself to build a team, getting people on board to help me. That was kind of how I started.
100%. Can you walk me through that process a little bit more too? So I kind of want to get into it. You look at the size of your team. What was the breakthrough moment that you had as a broker? You said, okay, so we're trying to do the transactions. And for the audience out there, it's very important to know you still work the leads sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
As a team leader, 20, that is crazy. Yes. 20 years in the business shows you're still in there with your team working the leads.
Absolutely. So I started looking around at other businesses. I realized after about a year in real estate just by myself, I wanted to give better service. That was number one for me. I could only do so much, and there's only so many hours in the day. So I started looking around at other businesses and what they were doing. For example, the doctor's offices, the lawyers, and what they were doing. And I realized that the large professionals, they all had teams. And I knew that was going to be the wave of the future as to how do I build a real estate team that can help me give better service. That was kind of what I did. So I started just by hiring an office administrator with me. I was able to delegate all of the behind the scenes stuff to this person. So it allowed me more time with the clients. That worked extremely well. My business pretty much doubled because I was able to service and give better quality to my clients. And then I just started realizing that now I've got a lot more clients. I don't have enough hours in the day.
Right.
So then I'm hiring sales agents and we kind of evolve from there.
Right. 100%. I think that's actually a really good process too. Can you talk about, so training these guys? Sales isn't, everyone thinks, okay, so people get the idea, like a little bit of a sticky feeling when it comes to being a salesperson. But the way I like to say it is that you're not selling for a living, you're helping, especially when it's something you actually love. And we've done interviews with your team and you can see that everybody's invested they want to go out there and make a difference and help their clients, right?
Yeah.
Talk about how you train these guys and girls on sales.
Sure.
Like break it down for me. Like I want to see from where you are now.
It's quite interesting because so what I did is in the beginning, I was the sales agent. So I was doing everything with my team. And when I brought in a new sales agent, basically we would just go out and everything I did, the sales agent just followed me and just tried to copy and listen and really, understand the process. And I did that for many, many, many years and had a lot of sales agents on my team.
Right.
The most important and the game changer in my business was when I hired a young gentleman by the name of Steve Ricard.
Right.
Steve Ricard is a game changer. And this is what has excited me with my business. He is a go-getter. Steve's been with me 13 years now. He started the process early. He realized that when I hired him, I trained Steve, and when I hired him, he realized I didn't have enough hours in the day to continue to train and put more time into the agents. He took the role on and made it his own. He pretty much became my sales manager for training and helping my team members. And he's been doing that now for the last 13 years. It's a position that he pretty much almost created himself out of the need for the team. And so now he's taking over that role. So I did it for about the first 7 years, and now he's taken that over. And so between Steve and myself, we really focus on training, which again turns into, helping the clients. That's all it's about for us.
100%. And arguably in Sudbury, you guys have some of the best training. Like, you are like the training center. So you do, if you look around the real estate field, you see the feedback coming back, and your guys, they have a certain way, or guys and girls, they have a certain way that they walk and they communicate, and it's strong. And I mean, it just, again, to let the audience know, Steven, you guys sold how many houses was the last year? You almost did a house a day. They sell every 27 hours a house.
We do. We're very proud of that.
That
It's
is
not
incredible.
Something that we really like to
No,
put
for
out
sure,
there.
but-
It's not about that. But you know what? Last year was 325 sales is what we did last year.
325. No, it's
yeah.
incredible. And it speaks to the accolades of what you do as a training, right? This isn't sales where you can then take somebody, put them into a system and say, here you go. And then all of a sudden they start becoming the top producers.
Right.
I think that's absolutely incredible. What do you think is the hardest part about training a team? Because I mean, you're dealing with different egos, different personalities.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that? I find that important.
I think the number one is finding the right people. The realtor that really what they want to do is focus on the client. Their success and the team's success is really what we put into the agent and what we put into the client. So if their focus is client first, which is what we're all about here at the Kuula team, everything else just falls right into place. And we're really proud of that.
100%. Do you find, and I got to ask you, this is a good one too, as we get into the sales talk, who do you think are better salespeople? Are the girls better salespeople, or the guys in your team? Or do they compete? Do they compete with each other? Like,
I have some, you know what, that's a loaded question.
Right.
And I got to be careful here. But you know what, I'm going to answer it this way, Connor. Every agent on my team, whether female or male, works really good with the individual client. So, I'm going to put it that way.
100%.
Does that make sense?
That's
a good answer. That's a safe answer.
Again, it's fluid and it moves. And I think that's the biggest thing.
I'm going to get in trouble if I say something a little wrong there.
Oh, so. No problem at all. I always want to know too, because how do you find when you're in like an environment? So real estate is a very competitive industry. I mean, I don't know how many brokers there are in the city of Sudbury, but are you into that competitive spirit where you're not obviously trying to low blow anybody, but are you very competitive yourself in nature, or did that, over the years getting in business that came out of you? Like talk to me about that.
Surprisingly, no, not competitive whatsoever.
No kidding.
My background really is I don't like the limelight so much. I don't like the spotlight. I don't want to be number one in certain things. That's not actually important to me. I'm very proud that I built a team that, we have achieved that status. But for me, it's not about that. And I've always in anything I've done, focused on whatever the business is. So for example, for my real estate career, I focused on the client. Being number one, that's great and everything, but it's not something I focus on. I want to focus on, how great, the city of Sudbury has been to myself and my team. That's our focus. That's what we love. And that's why we do what we do each and every day. The competitiveness, it's fun and it's great. I think we have more of that on our team,
sure.
Which I think also helps with our sales. I've got some team members, most realtors are very competitive in nature,
sure.
Kind of not my personality,
right.
But amongst my team members, I know if Steve has gone out and listed a property, I know, Jason's like, oh, okay, that's going to drive me. And he goes out and he, works with a client, gets a sale. And then you've got Crystal, who's right in there, or Matt. So I think it's within the team that there's a lot of healthy competition.
Again. And it pushes you too. Like, so one of the other questions this rolls off, did you have any specific mentors or people that you looked up to that kind of guided you, or books you read, things that again, it added to your personal development to where you are now. You look 20 years and then to where you are now. I really want to understand that, because what you've done is phenomenal over the years. And I just want the audience out there to know too, Stephen is one of the most humble guys I know. So I got to gloat for him a little bit on that, but I want to get inside that process, because you go 20 years back to where you are now. And then arguably one of the best realtors in Sudbury. He hosts, again, you were in the Circle of Legends, which is huge. Look that up. But to go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So, the mentors I had really when I looked around at getting into real estate, I really wanted to be with Remax, and we've got some amazing founders with Remax. And for our Canadian division, Walter Schneider, the owners of our Remax division in Canada, and Mr. Polsler, Frank Polsler. I think that's kind of my driving force. I've also done a lot of different sales. The Brian Buffini, these are great, real estate gurus, and Craig Proctor. These guys are game changers in their industry, and they do a lot of coaching. And I've done a lot of coaching with them, trying to emulate or learn, and they're really big in teams. And I also look around into different marketplaces, Toronto, Vancouver, large teams across Canada, and seeing what they do. And so it kind of, taking along a little bit about, from their team leads, how they're running their teams and how they built their businesses.
Absolutely. No, that's really good. Yeah, because I always want to see the process. So were you somebody when you grew up, did you ever think you were going to be an entrepreneur? Or again, did it fall on your lap? Like, is it one of those things, do you think it's innate in your DNA where, you weren't going to work for somebody, you wanted to build your own team? Like, has that always came to be? Or was it just over the years you started looking at the markets and things as you grew up?
It's funny you say that. It's something that my mom has always said to me. And even to this day, she'll say, Stephen, you've always said you wanted to be your own boss. Sometimes we work harder than most to achieve that. But I think I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. It's something that, like you said, I think it is in my DNA. I've done other things in the past, and I've always gravitated towards wanting to kind of run the show, so to speak.
Totally.
And I definitely couldn't do it with the help of my team. That's for sure.
No, 100%. I mean, that is the biggest thing. And I tell the same thing. It's like, I'm sitting there and everyone's like, oh, look at this. Everyone's doing a great job. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, we wouldn't be able to do it, even with the guys behind the camera, just so everybody knows. But in that sequence, right? I think it's very important. Something else I want to, I look at top level performers. So elite entrepreneurs, whether they're athletes, they're very mission driven. They have something that wakes them up that is bigger than yourself. So you refer to the team. Can you talk about what your mission has been? Obviously, you're not just another broker or you're not just here to sell a house. You're creating the experience. Yeah. Walk me through your mission and what fires you up on a daily basis.
Honestly, again, I think it goes back to my team. I have 3 full-time administrators that I get up in the morning every day, and they're at the office, the backbone of my business. My team, we provide a very healthy income and for them. So that's important to me. And my sales agent, it's the same thing. I think what excites me, Connor, is that the fact that I've been able to build a business and have a team that kind of rely on the Kuula brand as part of their income and feeding their families, so to speak. And I think that drives me each and every day to get up and say, you know what, it's just not me, it's the team. And that's what drives me. I get up in the morning and it's like, let's go. Like, everybody is there. We're all working as a group together. And it's a lot of fun. That's what I love about it.
Would you consider yourself an extrovert too? Or are you more introverted? Again, because you don't want to be like, it's funny because you don't promote yourself, but then we see you everywhere. So where's your personality lie in there?
Oh, definitely an introvert.
Right.
Absolutely. Ask everybody on my team. And a lot of people say, I just can't believe you are at the level you're at, being the personality you are. And you're right. I think marketing and advertising has really put the Kuula team on the map. And that's, you know that in business, you have to make sure that your clientele knows who to call. And in the city of Greater Sudbury, who has been so phenomenal and responsive with my team over the years, when you think real estate, we hope that you think Kuula team.
100%. No, it's true. Talk about that, being that kind of that locally driven, not entrepreneur, but locally driven realtor, because again, there is so many realtors in the city of Sudbury and you've positioned over the last 20 years. So what does it mean to be able to give back to community and be, local, where you see a lot of people, you got to move to Toronto to do bigger things, but right. You're a prime example of somebody that has taken, that mentality on a world stage, let's say for example, and brought it local with your training and everything like that.
We're proud that we've put Sudbury on the map for real estate. That's kind of how the largest centers in Toronto and our team leaders with Remax have really thought that, look at this, team in Sudbury and the numbers that they're doing. They're very proud of that, and I am too. When it comes to supporting Sudbury, that's the mission of the Kuula team, is to give back. We donate a portion of all our commission every time we sell a house. We promote and give back to the Children's Miracle Network.
Huge.
We support Neo Kids. There's so many different charities and that the Kuula team promotes, and that's something that I'm very, very proud of, and we're going to continue that for years to come.
Are you one of those entrepreneurs? Like, I kind of want to get into your mentality a little bit more too. Do you ever think you'll ever be able to retire? Like, it's such a hard thing, right? Because the innate drive in you as an entrepreneur is to always, is to give back and do big things. Like, do you ever see yourself as somebody that'll wind it down, or are you maybe, someone that's going to just keep going till the end?
Geez, I want to keep going. That is the whole point. There's a drive and an excitement that when you're able to help families achieve one of the biggest financial dreams of their life, that's something hard to walk away from. There is phenomenal realtors out there, and we are great at what we do. But I think this is something that we're going to be doing for years to come, and who knows? It would be a fantastic legacy if the Kuula team in Sudbury, the name, lived on even years and years past me. I think that would be a great legacy to also leave behind. I would love that for Sudbury.
100%. No, it's one of those things I always look when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, and it's always the same thing. It's mission driven. They're never going to be able to retire. They can never slow down. Are you somebody, so even though you are introverted, are you always trying to move? You're always trying to do something. It's always the next plan. What are we doing for the team? Like, is that how you kind of operate?
Absolutely. And you know what? It's hard to shut down. You try to go to bed at night and you try to shut down, and you can't, because your mind is always working. It's always, did I do enough today? What's tomorrow bringing? What's on the agenda for tomorrow? With so many, homes that we do sell, there's a lot of clients that we have to make sure that are serviced 100%. And we do that great as being the team, of course. But I think that's what's driving me each and every day is the thought process is, okay, let's go. What do we have to do? What's next? Let's make sure that we don't miss a step. That's important.
I think that is super key. Can you talk to me about getting over fear in general? Because growing a team that size, having to be able to provide an income for these people, talk to me about how you've been able to overcome fear in the marketplace, put yourself out there and position. Like, that's a big thing. I'd like to know, like, kind of your process and how you feel about that.
Well, there's no such thing as overcoming it. I understand what you're saying. I think we adapt to it. I think is a better way versus, because you're going to make mistakes. And I've made many, many mistakes. Hiring the wrong person, for example, can be very detrimental to any business. It's kind of that idea behind it, is that you're going to get up, you're going to make a mistake. You've got to be driven enough to say, okay, you know what? Let's learn from this. Let's move on. And what can we do better the next time? But you're always going to be, screwing something up, or things are not always going to work out. So just, I always say, roll with it, learn from it, and move on.
What are some of the techniques that you would utilize to be able to, not again, going off of the fear comment, but being able to try to disconnect? Again, so we were just talking about that prior to that, but how do you disconnect at night? Like, I know it's very hard because I'm in the same boat where it's at nighttime, you have 100 things going through your mind.
Right.
Do you have any certain things? Do you meditate? Do you do yoga? Like, is there any specific things or techniques, rituals that you use?
So can we talk alcohol? Is that allowed?
That would help. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, that works. Yeah.
No, honestly, what I think is just to try to, when you get home, and this is what I do a lot, is working out. That's a big stress reliever for me. Every morning, I do a workout, 45 minutes, on the elliptical and strength training and that. I find that really, really helps. Watching a favorite movie, just jumping onto Netflix and just, catching up with whatever show that you've been watching. That's what I do. I have to kind of change your mindset a little bit, because real estate is 24/7 and there's a lot to think about all the time. I think making sure that you've got an outlet, an escape, honestly, I think that's probably key.
No, I think that is, and I really like that perspective of it too, because again, the working out is like the primer. Do you have a specific routine you do in the morning, or you just get up and it's similar? You get right on the phone, you have to deal with your team, where you're going. Like, you have any specific things that you do every single day besides working out?
Yeah, well, try to get up at least by 6 or at the absolute latest 7. And first thing I do is of course do check my phone like most people do, make sure that there's nothing that's of any type of an emergency to deal with. If not, then the phone goes away, and I do a workout first thing in the morning. Because real estate, you can get away a little bit by doing those kind of things a little bit earlier. The calls and that doesn't happen till maybe a little bit later. So I can kind of get that job done and then start my day. And I think that's key, because then I don't have to worry about anything else. Because then when the day starts, we as a team, we go early morning till late at night.
100%. And then do you run so I'm assuming you're the type you run daily meetings in the office, or get everybody together, or send a text, have something kind of going in that way?
Yeah. So what we've done, what works for us, is we'll have a weekly meeting.
Right.
We're constantly using WhatsApp as a platform to communicate with each other. So we know exactly what each other is working on, and when the team members need help, they jump into the group chat. But weekly, we always meet at the office in the boardroom, and we just go through goals. We go through, we kind of do a wrap up of the previous week. So that's how we start the meeting. What worked, what didn't. We sit down and everybody has a say, and then we also focus on, okay, what's next? What's next week, bringing, what's happening. So that's kind of how we do it.
100%. So I kind of want to change gears a little bit. And again, so some of our audience, a lot of people are business people. I think it's important because of the numbers you put up over the years. Can you talk to us about your experience in sales? So what I want to ask, the actual formal question is, a lot of times sales, you're going to get rejection. How do you overcome that rejection on a daily basis? Because so if one of your clients, let's say, for example, they go with someone else, or one of those things on a daily basis, how do you face that every day?
Yeah, it's tough. It's my personality. You sometimes you take it personal,
Sure.
and in business you really can't. Because I want to be able to help everybody. We don't, we will have that rejection. We will have, when we've been out to go see a client about listing their property, and they may list with another agent, and that's okay. For me, it's more, I want to understand why that may happen. Now, it doesn't happen often, mind you, because I think we've got one of the best systems in place here in Sudbury. But when it does, and of course it happens in every business, I want to learn from it again. I think that's the key to it, is don't take it personal. Which is sometimes tough to do in business, but learn from it and grow from it, and find out if we could have tweaked something a little different, or maybe we didn't communicate effectively in one aspect of what we do. That's kind of part of it.
100%. Can you talk to me for a second? So with your team, so let's say you have somebody that is maybe a weaker member of the team, and you're trying to bring them up. What would be some of the things that you would teach them? So for anybody in their life, again, I like to go a little bit motivational in this sense, so anybody that could be struggling in their life right now to find direction or clarity, or so if you have a member, let's say, of your team that's maybe not the strongest, they need to get that edge. What would you tell them?
I think having a mentor, somebody to look up to, somebody to talk to, whether it's a team member of mine, and we'll identify that very quickly on my team. And that's, my role, and my sales manager, Steve Ricard, that's his role, is to help and understand. And sometimes it's just life gets in the way. They could be struggling with something personal. The more that we know about a team member who may be, struggling a little bit, it could not be the fault of just sales alone. It could just be that they've got something going on in their life that is troubling to them. I say that we're a family. I think that's one of the big benefits of being a part of the Kuula team, is that, you've got, 12, 13 other members working with you, lifting you up and helping you through the process. And that's been a big key to our success.
Oh, no, that's really great. Do you think, so going back again to the sales question, do you think you could train anybody on sales and bring them in? So some people, you see some of the best producers in the world, maybe come from a harder background, or they maybe are in that low, and then they meet a mentor like yourself. Do you believe you can train basically anybody with your system?
Train everybody on the system 100%. That's what's great about what we built, is that we are very systematic. Not everybody is meant to be in sales. It is commission. It's 100% commission. You have to get up in the morning and have that drive, and be able to go all day long. And like you mentioned earlier about possibly having rejection, it's not for everybody. A lot of people will get into real estate and get into sales, and then realize it's not for them. And that's okay. As long as you can identify that early in the process, I think that's key. And then find what you do love. Every one of my team members, their passion is real estate. And I think that is, again, the key, because all they want to do is just help our clients.
100%. And it's that energy, right? And I know a lot of people say, well, some people chase money, some people chase passion. At the end of the day, I'm a big believer in follow the energy. So if you're not passionate about it, you're going to burn out. That's always the way it seems. Kind of crossing gears onto that question, I want to go to a more educational based question. So if you look at it, so there is people, especially in today's age, you have your cell phone. Cell phones are always handy. There's stimuli constantly blasting you. How do you feel about the current education system? Do you think if you take someone on, do you find they're more driven if they go to school? Do they need the educational background? Or do you think they can go right into a sales background? How do you feel about that? And again, I know it's an open-ended question.
You know what? I've seen phenomenal agents have bachelor degrees, and I've seen phenomenal agents fresh out of high school even, and then start, the real estate process. I don't think education, to be educated, if you will, is key, because to get a real estate license, you have to go through all the training and all of that as well. And they teach you a lot of the ethics and a lot of about what it is. We just take that and we go to the next level about how to actually sell and work with clients. So I don't really believe that true high education is needed. It's all up to the individual.
Totally. And I like that too. And that is one of the biggest things, because we do have a younger audience in some ways. And I see the education system where they might have their parents saying, hey, you have to get this. This is the golden ticket. I'm living proof of that, where it's like my dad always drilled me. He's like, you got to get the master's degree, go to law school. And I said, Dad, I can go this way. and stuff like that. So that's always an important thing. What would your advice be to the younger generation in this culture right now, where you have cell phones and you can basically do anything in a lot of ways?
We love the technology. We embrace it. It's interesting to see where things are moving to. With the younger audience listening, you know what? Embrace it. Use the technology. The platforms are there. But I will always say this: don't ever forget about your customer, your consumer. They are number one. There's still something to be said for face-to-face conversations, a handshake, an eye-to-eye conversation with them. At the end, it's not behind the screen, it's face to face. And that is, if there's anything, because I've been, 20 years in this business, we didn't have the technology when I started. And now today, with what is available to us, we use it as tools, but never forget about the client.
The bread and butter at the end of the day that builds the foundation of a business.
Absolutely.
Do you find it's harder in today's age comparing to when you started, where, again, it was that handshake style thing? Or walk me through that a little bit?
It's funny. I still love that. I love the face-to-face. I love seeing when a first-time home buyer signs the offer with us and they just bought their first home. I get goosebumps. I get energy off of that. I love that. It's something that on my team and with a lot of realtors, we're always trying to say, try to leave the technology a little bit. Pick up the phone still. A lot of people have issues with that. We get the technology is there. We use it. We embrace it. We're able to do a lot more stuff with it. From how I started many years ago. It's game changer.
Totally. How do you feel about social media? So again, it can go hit or miss, where you have reviews now online where people can, even before getting to meet you. So before, you come from the day and age where you have a billboard or you have something in the phone book. Like, walk me through that. Has it enhanced your business? Is it an added bonus? Something I want to just say on camera. It's super important that, again, Stephen comes from the age where even if all social media wasn't there, he built his business from the ground up. So that shows how strong you are. How do you feel about leveraging social media? Has it been a tool for your success, or do you feel like in some ways you don't need it? You wouldn't need it anyways.
No, social media, 100%, you need it
100%.
Today. And you mentioned about reviews. Reviews are key. No matter what we are going to do as a society, reviews are there to help the consumer educate themselves and get an idea about the client. Google reviews and TripAdvisor and all of these great platforms are there to help the consumer. We didn't have that years ago. I think it's very, very important. I think that, again, it goes back to, you've got to keep an eye on your reviews. You've got to see what people are saying about you. I'm always asking for client testimonials. I want to improve if I can. I want to congratulate our team when we do a great job. And if there's something that may have been missed or faltered, I want to learn from it and talk to the client and say, what could we have done different, so it doesn't happen again. And now that doesn't happen often, mind you, which we're very proud of. But reviews are very key for any business.
100%. I want to ask you something, and it's personal in a positive way. how for all these years, because you've become so successful, how have you stayed so humble? And I know, and no, it's true, because sometimes, if you get to a certain level of success, it can go to your head. You see it with lots of athletes, you see it with, you take actors and people like that. How have you kept that humble approach and perspective that you're always there for somebody? Talk to me about that, because I think a lot of people in this day and age with the phone always in your face, like how have you been able to do that?
I think, honestly, Connor, I think it's just my personality. I'm not one to showboat. I'm not one to boast about our accolades or our team's achievements. I kind of let what we do speak for itself. I think it just goes back to my personality, who I am as a person. My parents raised me to be humble, to be kind, to still say please and thank you. If it wasn't for my mom and dad, I think that that was such an important part of my upbringing. And I think that is really the key is just who I am. That's just Stephen Kuula, I guess, that you get
100%.
what you see is what you get.
Totally.
I'm very humble about that.
You're very real in a fake world, and a lot of it today where it's smoke and mirrors you see online. And no, but that's something I really appreciate, that you can see a high level entrepreneur like yourself. And again, I say it on camera that again, you're not a promoter, you promote the team, and that's a huge aspect just to your character. So I kind of roll off of this, and it's important. Do you hire based on character or resume, or is there a divide between the both? Like, because again, I'll bring someone into my office, and I'm gonna right away. I don't even need to see the resume. I want to see how they move, how they talk, how they feel. Is it good energy? Like, how do you hire? How do you hire?
Yeah, absolutely. So if it comes to our administration staff, of course, the background and experience off of a resume is the start, and that's very important. When I hire a realtor, I don't even look at a resume. I don't want to see a resume. I agree with you. Most important is sit down, have a conversation, see if there's energy, see what their passion is, find out why they got into real estate or why they want to get into real estate. That's going to be key. I want to get inside your mind a little bit. I want to figure you out. I want to know, is this going to be a good fit for us? We also profile every team member that we hire, be it administration staff or sales. Everybody has and falls into one of four components. And if you hire the wrong person, they're just not going to be the right fit. For one of our administrators, for example, and we do what's called color profiling. An administrator, a gold personality, is somebody who's very detail oriented. They like their start times and their end times, and they're very, very good at what they do in the behind the scenes. Whereas a realtor, as we call an orange personality, is the best personality. Those realtors are the high energy level. They don't even own a watch half the time, or look at the time on their phone, because they want to go. They are just, you can't tie them down to a desk to do paperwork. That's
Right.
not why they got into the business. They want to be with the client. They want to be out there, and we do a lot of that on the team. That's probably one of our biggest keys to success, has been hiring the right fit for the right position.
I think that's huge. I think that really comes down to it too, because then they add to the team. It's like Michael Jordan, right? He brings the team up, and then you have these other key players that are just as good to help him bring him up as well. What would your advice be? And again, these are some of the last questions I want to ask, and it's important. What would your advice be to your younger self? If you were to do it all over again, you look at the mistakes and what made you who you are today and into this position, what would be some of the advice you tell yourself?
Wow, that's, what? Nobody's ever asked me that. And I see that question asked a lot in different interviews, and I've actually never thought about it. What would I tell myself? Strap in, hold on, get ready, because you're going to have a phenomenal ride. I think if I had to go back, I wouldn't change a thing. There's always, of course, a little blip here, a little blip there, but if I could change something, it would change the outcome. And I'm very, proud of where I am. I'm proud of where our team is. I'm so grateful to Greater Sudbury for what they've done for us to help us achieve our goals. My younger self would just say, you know what, do it again, and do it even better if you can.
100%, and have fun, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's a big component. You can tell with your team and the atmosphere and the vibe you've created that it's not work, it's fun. You got to work hard, but at the end of the day, it's something more than yourself. And in my closing question, I think it's very important, Stephen. So I want to ask again, we kind of related to it, but talk about being involved in the community, and again, having something that's bigger than yourself. So whether you're giving to Neo Kids or one of those charities, or getting involved behind the blinders, you don't have to showcase it, but talk to me about how that has made your life better, and that adds, and you've taught that to your team.
You know what it is, Connor? It is, it's humbling when you see that as a team, we've been able to help. We're proud of that.
100%.
And I think that is what's key, is that with what I've been able to build, we've been able to help young kids, families, through the charities that we've done. That's important to us.
100%. Stephen, honestly, you're an incredible entrepreneur, and it's humbling for me to learn from a mentor like yourself and have you on my show. Honestly, do you have any last remarks that you would like to leave with our audience, or anything else you'd like to say to young entrepreneurs or someone looking out there for more?
Honestly, just go after your dream, go after your goal, enjoy what you do, enjoy life. If you find that you're not a fit for something, find out what you are fit for. Do what you love. And if you've got that passion and drive inside of you, no matter what it is, you can achieve it 100%.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Connor. Thank you
very much.
My gosh, thank you.
It's great.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome.